I just realized that that was happening, that Nainoa was losing his childhood because he felt like he had to take care of me.
Hey everyone, thanks for joining me. My name is Reesa and I'm your host. We are talking to real families about real stories here on The Real Family Eats, where we've got food for thought and thoughtful food. So let's eat. Welcome back, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us today. I'm so excited for today's guest, today's recipe as well. I'm excited to make it. So I have the lovely Renee Rose here, who is actually, spoiler alert, my cousin, coming to join and talk a little bit about parenting with us. So hi, Renee. Thanks so much for joining.
Hello, hi Risa. Thanks for having me.
Yes, absolutely. I appreciate you being willing to come chat parenting with me and all the real stuff about what happens
Hmm.
as parents.
Yes,
Um,
absolutely.
so, for anybody who doesn't know you like I know you, which is my entire life, uh, can you introduce yourself for us?
Yes, so I am Rennie Rose Morala Jorg. That's actually my married name. Um, Maiden name is Morala, which is the same maiden name as Reese's. Her dad is my dad's brother. Yeah, and I was married, oh gosh, way back in 1995, 94, 95 was when I was married, had my first child then, um, and then like 10 years later became a single mom, but also had two children to raise on my own. So while doing that, I went back to school. I went to college, completed my bachelor's and my master's during that time, and then worked full time. And then after that, had 20 years working and 20 years being a single mom. And yeah, just plugging in, and just uh doing what I need to do in order for me to survive and raise two beautiful boys um in the last, I guess, 30 years now, because Nainoa's turning 30.
Oh my
um
goodness.
you know, right, on the 20th. And then Kaili, my second child, um he turned 26 this year. So I have two grown boys now, and me, you know, on the way to just being by myself and still being mommy though. It doesn't
Yes.
stop at that age. But yeah, going through the whole process of still parenting, still being a mom, and at the same time, being single and finding myself, and doing the profession and having the career, and doing a doctorate and all that stuff all together, all in 50 something years of my life. 51.
Yeah,
I'm 51.
there you go.
Yeah.
And still looking young and thriving. I hope that those are in my genes as well. So not only do I have the last name, but hopefully I can get the same youthful vibrance.
For sure. For sure. Yes, yes, definitely.
Okay. Well, I'm so, excited to kind of be able to talk a little bit more about your story. But before we do that, what recipe are you sharing with our audience today, and why did you choose this one?
This is actually an interesting request from you. It's like, what recipe? First of all, I don't cook, so I don't know what recipe to give you. And I wanted to really know how to make carbonara. In this past few years, your sister and I have been traveling to Europe, and when we were in Europe, every place, hole in a wall, nice restaurant, you know, what have you, we always order carbonara because it's the yummiest food, easiest food, I guess, that you can have and eat at in the different places in Europe, Italy, France, wherever you go, carbonara is the thing to eat. So I was like, oh, this is so good. So now going back to the States, I've been wanting to have that, to have that carbonara taste, and it's just different. It's just different. It's much creamier here. I went to Olive Garden and Cheesecake Factory and all those places. It's just never the same. So I figured, oh, maybe I'll do it myself and maybe I can recreate, what I've been craving for. I tried it once. It was a fail, but I think I know what went wrong, so it's due for me to try it again, and I hope that you're more successful than me when I did it the first time.
Fingers crossed. So,
Yeah.
okay, so tell us what can you give me like the overview of the ingredients and the steps I can get mixing while we chat?
Yes, so I know first of all you have to cook the spaghetti. Boil
Mm-hmm.
them probably 10, 11 minutes, depending on which noodles you're gonna use. And also, you want to have good ingredients because this is almost eating it raw, actually. It's not like the spaghetti where you stir in everything and then you keep cooking. It's like it's raw, but it has to get cooked raw. It's almost like Caesar salad to me. You know how you
Okay.
would just mix everything. So
Yeah.
you need a really good cheese, the
Mm-hmm.
Parmigiano. Do you have that one? Did you get
I
it?
do.
Okay,
Do I
cool.
have my cheese?
Very good. And then super yummy bacon. I don't oh, pancetta is the name of
Mm-hmm.
it, right? Because I couldn't find that over here in Hawaii for some reason. Did you
Yeah,
find
so
it
I
there?
I honestly I had bacon already, so I've just used my bacon. But I got the thick cut slice one, so it's not the cheap stuff.
Okay, okay, that should work. That should work. I guess you really want that crunchy or like really fried up to make it
Okay.
like really yummy. And then two eggs or raw, like I said, it's raw.
Mm-hmm.
So it has to be where the spaghetti is no, you have to mix oh my gosh, you have to mix the eggs and the pepper and the cheese and then you make it like really creamy.
Okay.
And once it's like all mixed, you then mix it on a very hot noodle so that it kind of cooks.
Mm-hmm.
Then stir them all together and they're supposed to like adhere to each other.
Okay.
It's not saucy supposed to be. It's actually
Yeah.
supposed to be dry tasting. Um and
Okay.
voila. I think it's that
All right.
simple.
Yeah, I can do that. So we'll keep our fingers crossed. We'll see how this one turns out.
Okay.
And then while I'm doing that, I know one of the things that you had mentioned that you're willing to kind of talk about, which I so appreciate, is is kind of the process for you in like you mentioned, kind of going to a two parent household to getting divorced and becoming that single parent, and some of the struggles and challenges that kind of came with that in your experience. You had mentioned, if I'm remembering this correctly, you kind of went through the process twice.
Yes, isn't that weird?
Yeah,
Yes.
so tell me about that.
Yeah, because the first time I did it, I didn't completely finish. Like I didn't reach the the final signing of the divorce, I was just too emotional. Maybe every time I have to do things, I just couldn't face it. So it lapsed for, oh, I think could be another 7 or 8 years, could be 10, hopefully less. But it reached the statute of limitation in filing a divorce.
Okay.
So that's why I had to refile it again. But that time I'm more ready, I'm
Hmm.
readier than when I did it the first time. So I was able to go through it and finish it up and finalize the divorce like years later. So that's what happened
Wow.
to that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, can you talk a little bit more about, you'd mentioned kind of that first time that a lot came up, it sounds like, for you that really created, barriers to that filing and to kind of going through that final step. Can you say a little bit more about kind of what was coming up for you? What in your experience kind of presented those challenges? Like so much so that you said, you kind of stayed in it for several more years.
Yeah, I think, well, first of all, we were married, like happily married, for 10 years. And I feel like it was a solid marriage. We hardly actually ever fought. We moved to Hawaii, or we raised our children in Honolulu. So it's always just been us, right? Like we didn't
Mm.
have family around. So we bonded so strong in that 10 years that when something happened that led to us or led to me wanting to divorce, um, it was so devastating. It was just one, I couldn't believe I'm in that situation.
Hmm.
Um, my parents separated too, and when I got married, I really didn't want to be like my parents or to end up like my parents because number one, as a child, I know how that feels, and I don't want my children to feel the same feelings that I had growing up with such a broken family.
Mm.
So when it was happening to me, I just couldn't believe it because when I marry for forever. You don't really
Hmm.
think about, or you don't prepare for that time when you really have to give up the marriage and then knowing that you have to raise your children on your own. So there was just a lot of back and forth. I wish I did it sooner. I really do, because that's a long time to be mulling around those emotions. I mean, even during that time, I felt like Nainoa was really young, and there was a point where I felt like at age 11, he was trying to take care of me because I was so down and depressed that I realized that he wasn't going at 11 years old, he wasn't going out and being with friends. He would go to school, come straight home, and like get me out of bed because I won't get out of bed. So jump on my bed so that I fall on the bed so that I can get
Well,
out of bed. He was
yeah.
really trying to shake me off of that funk that I was in during that time. And and then at some point, I just realized that that was happening, that Nainoa was losing his childhood because he felt like he had to take care of me because I
Wow.
was so broken during that time. So I'm just like, okay, this is not right. These are the things that I didn't want my children to undergo because I
Hmm.
know those feelings. So, I used to have those those emotions or feeling like I have to take care of my siblings or my aunt has to take care of us because my parents are so broken, you know.
Yeah.
And you feel like you compromise your growing up. You're going out with friends or just being a child or just being foolish or whatever. You miss out
Hmm.
on all of that because you feel like you have to grow up so fast to take care of yourself or to take care of your sibling. And I Noah's case, to take care of me. He felt like he had to take care of me and he has to take care of his brother. And I just didn't want that anymore. You know, I felt
Yeah.
like I had to, shake it all off and really start focusing on myself and then so that I can take care of the kids.
Hmm. Was there, like, when you're in it, because I heard you mentioning that, you had experienced kind of the child version of your parents going through that. Like, did you struggle with any of those narratives of, gosh, I must be failing, or what does this mean as for me as a parent now that I'm going through these same things? Because I can only imagine just like being in that, especially as you mentioned, like having even being like in a depression, our brains can be really good at being our worst critic. And so I'm curious if that happened for you.
Totally. Like I felt like a failure. Like, I held on to it so much that I thought that's what I needed to do. Like at some point, Doug was sleeping in Kaili's room
Okay.
and Kaili was sleeping with me in my room. Um, and I thought, okay, that's the right thing to do because at least the kids are, they still have both their parents in the house.
Mm-hmm.
But, we're separated, but we're not. And I realized that kids are not dumb. Like they know, it's like, um, it was pretending that we were together, but we're not, So it
Okay.
was it was really more traumatizing, and wasn't healthy,
Hmm.
for the kids, to live that way or to see that. And then for me too, because I don't know, maybe in the back of my mind, we're gonna get together again, or this is what I need to do for the kids. Um, but no, I couldn't move on. I couldn't get healthy. Everything was just in downward spiral.
Yeah.
And I lost like backbone. I lost my footing, doing it that way. And I thought I was protecting the kids, but really I wasn't. I was confusing them and hurting them more, um, because I chose to live in that pretend life, um, when really in reality it's already separated and disconnected.
Yeah.
Um, I wish I knew that faster than I did. But I don't know. At that point you do what you know and
Mm-hmm.
and you just see what happens and you know, I realized that it was not the right setup for the kids.
Yeah. Was there a moment for you that was that like aha moment that you were able to kind of maybe shift that perspective?
The aha moment for me was when, well, because their father was doing something crazy, that's why it led me to feel the way I feel. And when my sons found out what he was doing, and them actually coming to me and telling me, oh mom, I know why you're sad, or I know why you're angry with dad now. It's because he did this. And so that actually, I guess I'm a mama bear. Once the kids are really affected and now I know that they're getting affected, that's when like,
Yeah.
oh shoots, this is so wrong. And that's why like, no, this cannot happen anymore. It's like
Hmm.
it's just it cannot happen anymore. So I remember telling Nainoa, he was already, so 11, he was 18, going on 19. I said, I'm sorry,
Okay.
Nainoa, I just couldn't do this anymore. I have to finalize a divorce. And Nainoa was like, oh my gosh, mom, it's been 10 years. Like, it's been 10
Wow.
years. And he's like, if you're not gonna do it, I'll do it for you, kind of thing.
Oh,
So I guess I needed one more instance to happen for some reason. And actually I needed the support from Nainoa. Like I needed him to understand that I wasn't doing it to break the family, because that was the
hmm.
other thing too. I was being told by my crazy family that if I do that, it's my fault that I'm breaking the family, that it's
Yeah.
because I was the one who wanted to leave,
Hmm.
like it's my fault to do it. But that's the thing, right?
Yeah.
You listen to other people and then you blame yourself and you feel like a failure. And I was even told, oh, because you're so hard-headed, at least he comes home to you. But,
Oh, wow.
all that messed up uh what is that? Language or talk that really destroyed my my strength, I guess, to really
Yeah.
do it. And it was my sons who's there for me, who believed in me, and who really was behind me all the way. Uh,
Hmm.
that made me do it the second time, and actually do it much better than when I did it the first time.
What do you mean by much better? Can you say more about that?
I think um I was more certain and determined.
Okay.
Like there was a point where, because I was so weak and broken before, I was told that if I go through it, because I didn't go to work either, I was still going to school. Like I didn't have penny to my name. Like I don't have,
Hmm.
that my kids will be taken away from me because I couldn't afford to watch over them and things like that. And then years later, when I realized that, no, I'm gonna do this, I had the information that I needed. I had a really good lawyer. She's a friend of mine, and I was more educated about my rights as a mother. And
Hmm.
because I wanted 100% custody of my kids. I didn't want that back and forth, you go here half a time, you go here half a time, and then you have to schedule whatever. I wanted the kids 100% during the second time. I want them 100% their home here. But if Doug wants to take them out, or if they want to, sleep over at their dad's place or whatever, they're so welcome to do that. Like I didn't even have a schedule. Whenever Doug wanted to see them, yes, you can have them. Christmas
Hmm.
time, you want to have them? Okay, yes, you can have them, because I know I have them 24/7. So
Yeah.
whenever he requests, I never want to use the kids against him or, between us.
Yeah.
So but it was important to me that the kids have a home, or the kids have their own room, or that they can call their own. So none
Hmm.
of this like back and forth and have to negotiate time, and no, I want them to be as certain and as grounded, and know that 100% this is their home, and then everything else is just supplemental and add on, um and whatever's requested, but I made sure that I have them 100%.
Yeah. And, I think it makes so much sense. I hear you saying that, you know, there was even maybe your own dialogue as far as the failure, but when you're receiving that, even from external messages, right, that people are telling you, like, yeah, if you go through with this, that it's going to mean all these like really bad things and this is what's going to happen. Like, I feel like anybody in that situation, yeah, you're going to like sit there and it's going to be really hard to tune out those voices if they're telling you and this is what's going to happen. And so much so that it sounds like for a lot of time you just kind of shut your own needs off to
Mm-hmm.
try to survive getting through this, because like, well, if this is what it means to have a good family, is that I just have to stay in it and I have to just turn off all of these things that are happening for me in this moment. Well, then I guess that's what I'm going to have to do, where I can then absolutely appreciate why it took almost those children, right, saying like, we're going to be okay, to be able to provide that permission, especially when you're getting so many of those messages. And I feel like I hear that all the time, where people, not only do they have their own internal voice that are telling them how much this is going to be a failure and how much you're going to screw things up, but that they're also hearing that from other people, and that can make it that much more scary to kind of be in that. And I imagine that feels so lonely.
Absolutely. When it almost felt like, the world is not on your side.
Yeah.
You felt so alone navigating the whole thing. And mind you, I never prepared for it. Like I didn't, like I said earlier, I am married for forever, right? That was the rest of my life. So I really didn't know how to navigate being a single parent. And if my kids were the only one who was there for me.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I feel. And, not to blame any of my friends and family about what was going on, but it's just that when you're in that situation, you really, well, if you don't have like a support group, or if maybe I didn't reach out enough, or, I was really trying to just figure things out on my own, especially like most of my friends and families are not living with me or around me in Hawaii, you
Mm-hmm.
know. Um, they probably didn't, or they weren't aware of the struggles that I was going through, or what the kids are going through while I'm in that very low point of my life. Um, I was just really blessed with having very loving children. They're probably, I mean, they're very young, but they were strong. Kids can be very resilient.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they they did really well, during that time, and had a really good work too. I mean, I think in the States, it's not easy to find a career if you don't have a degree. So I'm happy that I was able to go to school. Um, I was able to find a job in a really good school, and to continue thriving that way, while the kids are also trying their best to stay strong for me, you know?
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think what I really appreciated you mentioning is that idea, right, that there's those messages that, oh, if you do this, it's you're gonna fail because you don't have a penny to your name. I don't know how many, you know, moms I've heard kind of in a similar boat saying like, I'm so afraid to do this,
Mm-hmm.
um, because I'm not the primary breadwinner or all of these things. And so then they, in a similar way, kind of feel almost trapped, like they have to stay because, well, there's a lot of fear almost there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think I shared this with you when I was filling out that questionnaire. Um, here in Hawaii, I don't know in other state, but I think it is mandated here in Hawaii that when you file for divorce, the court will summon your children to go through this what they called kids first.
Okay.
It's basically a session with the judge and some social workers, and they take all the kids whose parents are going through the divorce in a
Mm-hmm.
room, and basically they teach the kids what's gonna happen. Like, oh, mom's in the blue house and dad's, I think, in the greenhouse. And then now it's gonna be like a purple home. Is green and blue purple or violet? The primary colors, is
So
it
red
blue?
and blue,
Oh,
I
red.
think
Okay,
is.
sorry. It's the blue house and the red
I
house.
had to think
So,
about it.
and then, you all of a sudden have this purple home. And then, teaching them this combined, separated but combined, and that basically telling them it's not your fault or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, my sons had to do this twice, okay? Because I had to file, divorce twice. So
Mm-hmm.
the first time they did it, they actually really hated it already because they feel like it's so hokey and, whatever, funny. But it's like a simulation that the judges are trying to do. Like, okay, you're gonna be mom, you're gonna be dad. And actually, the parents don't get to see it. We're like all outside waiting for that to happen. So it's
Okay.
all like organized by the judge and the social workers. So they did that the first time. And then of course I filed again, right? So
Yeah.
they hated it before, and then now they have to go through it again. And I like totally beg them, please, please. You have to do it again because it's a court mandate.
Yeah.
So I will never forget this moment though. When you're talking about turning points, I do have a lot of turning points why
Mm-hmm.
I am where I am right now. Is because, when I was trying to like beg both of them, please just do it. Just humor me. I know you know this already. Just humor me. Just go and just do what the judge said. That's what I told them.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget this. And I told them this many, many times. And even in my dissertation, when I dedicated my dissertation to them, I wrote it there too, because it was something that that I hold dear in my heart. And then it's that time when they said, Mom, we can teach this, right? We've been through this before. We can teach this already. We know what it is. And I said, yeah, I know, but just go through it. No, no, no. They said, no, Mom, listen, listen. This is what kids first. The name of the session, it's kids first. So
Mm-hmm.
they said, Mom, do you know what kids first is? I said, okay, what? What is kids first? Mom, they said, both of them, going back and forth. They said, Mom, kids first is you first. So if you're okay, if you're gonna be okay, we're gonna be okay.
Mm.
And I really took that to heart. Like, that's why I'm so ambitious. That's why I make sure like they have a home. I mean, I've been so blessed and lucky. I own two homes. I took care of them on my own. Yes, I mean, Doug's supportive. I've told him he's a really good father. I will never take that away from him. He is a good father, but I can say that I did it on my own. But it's because I was so conscious that I have to be okay for my kids to be okay. So if I'm okay right now, if I'm flourishing and I'm thriving and I'm accomplishing things that I could never, like, I hated school, but now I'm a doctor. What's up with that? Like, hello. But it's because that's how much I love these two boys. Like, I have to be super good so that these kids will be okay. You know,
Hmm.
that the better I become, it's that much deeper love I have for being a mother and for having those two children. So I will never forget that. Like, kids first is you first. I really wrote that in my dissertation. I don't know if anybody would understand that, but yeah, that's one biggest thing that I will never forget. Like, that moment that I have with them, that I have to be okay in order for my kids to be okay. And that's
Yeah.
the most important thing for me.
And I think that's such an important message because I think our society just in general kind of has it backwards in the sense of there's this like idea that if you put yourself first, if you invest in yourself as a parent, then that somehow you're not being a good parent because you're not putting your children first. You're not kind of showing up and sacrificing in that way. And and I think that's such a shift in that narrative that actually, as stereotypical as it is, kind of that flight attendant, right? Put your mask on before the others, but that it sounds like in your experience, you have seen that firsthand that when you have kind of invested in yourself, if I'm hearing you correctly, that once you've invested in yourself, it allowed and opened you up to be able to maybe invest even more into your children. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, totally. Like, I even tell myself I keep reinventing myself because I want to be better. Like, who would have known that I would play tennis? Like, I'm such a klutz in high school. I never played sports or anything, but actually I've been playing tennis leagues for the last 10 years. And
Mm-hmm.
again, it's like, why do I do what I do? Like, why even go back to school and finish a doctorate program? Or why buy another home? Like, why do I do all these things? And I swear it wouldn't really matter to me if I didn't love my children. Like, I don't I don't know how else to say it, but what I do and how I do things is because of how much I love my children. And that's my bottom line, It's like,
Mm-hmm.
yes, I've invested so much in myself because I know that if I'm good, they'll be good. So
Yeah.
if I'm this good, then it means they're gonna be this good. It's like that, I don't know, reciprocal, or that correlation, I guess, of how
Mm-hmm.
much I love them is how much I get better for myself.
Yeah. And I imagine there's that modeling there too, right? That I'm modeling for them what it looks like for them to give them permission to invest in themselves and to be able to kind of grow and nurture and know that it's okay for them to spend time and money and energy into pouring into themselves too.
That's my hope.
Yeah.
That's my hope. I hope that if they can see their mom thriving or surviving all of that, I don't know, dark ages that we went through,
Mm-hmm.
I could only hope that in their later years right now that they could see, um, that you can survive these things, that you actually have to put time in yourself. They're going through that. They're what is that? 30 and 26 right now, and they're I don't know. I could just remember being 21 and 30 and trying to figure out life, and the difference in generation, how everything has to happen, and when it's not happening, they feel like they're in a slump or they're in a downward spiral. And I'm like, I just want to shake them and say, no, it's a process, you're going through this whole thing. It's not automatic, like it's 20 years for me, at least in my professional practice. It's 20 years. I didn't get here, yes, from yesterday and here today.
Yeah.
It's like that whole thing. And I just wish I know I do have an impact. I truly know that. But I just also know that they're going through stuff right now. And yeah, I could only hope that they could see that it's a process. It's not
Mm.
automatic, it's that we can survive this, if we stay together, if we're founded or grounded by love and connection, support, patience and resilience, all those things just ground us, that everything is survivable. Like you can totally overcome, like everything, we can overcome all these things. And they're going through that right now. And yeah, I could only hope, right? Because I feel like by the time they're 18 or 20, they have their own minds already. So whatever I did before they turn 18 and 20, you just hope that it's applicable or they're applying all of that. Because
Yeah.
you wanna instill some kind of foundation,
Mm-hmm.
of values, beliefs in them when they're young. Um, because by the time they're 18 and 20, yeah, they listen to me. They will call me from time to time, but they're already navigating things on their own. And
Yeah.
you just hope that whatever foundation and values that ground them will be there with them as they navigate through their own lives right now, their own
Yeah.
independent lives right now. Yeah,
I imagine that is a really kind of scary place to be in, to kind of see them doing life and potentially, having to deal with their own challenges, their own hurts, while at the same time, respecting they are adults and, they've got to learn some of these things. And like, how much do you like hands on and you intervene, and how much it's like, okay, I have to like let them live and let them learn some of these things on their own.
for sure. For
Yeah.
sure. So we're in that stage right now. I mean, I do have a home here in Oahu, in Kapolei, and I do have a home in Maui. So, they're very welcome to like live with me and stay with me as they struggle through this whole career life that they're trying to do. But I give them credit right now. They're doing it on their own. They're both renting an apartment right now. Kaili's with a roommate because he's, he lives more conservatively than Nainoa does. And Nainoa has his own apartment right now. So they are living independently. So I'm very proud of them. But yeah, it's not easy. It's really not. And you almost no, I don't wish that it's hard for them, but you're right. You almost want to allow them to go through it. And
Mm-hmm.
it's almost unfair, I think, for them if I keep bailing them out or if I keep like offering the solutions for them or, always having that safety net for
Mm-hmm.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah, at some point or I have to learn to just, let go. I mean, hurt and all. I have to I have to do that. I have to let go and have them go through all of that.
Yeah. Gosh. Okay, so as we wrap up, one of the questions that I like to ask guests before we sign off is if you had access to a DeLorean and you got to go, back to the past, if you will, um, what age do you think you would go back to and kind of offer yourself not to change the past, but rather to maybe offer yourself some words or a phrase or even just offer yourself a hug. At what part in your life do you think you would go back to, and what would you say or what would you offer to former you?
Um, I wish when was that? Like 20 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
I have that hug, you know, because it was really tough. That was
Yeah.
one of the toughest times that I had to go through. Um, and just to know that it's not your fault, you
Mm.
know? It's not your
Yeah.
fault. I've been I've been a really, I can say that now. I was a really good, loyal, honest, loving wife and mother. I took care of my family, the best that I know how, the best that I could.
Mm.
Um, I wasn't I didn't try to be like a burden or anything. That's why I went back to school and try to be, do things for myself, even if, I remember typing in one hand and breastfeeding on the other because, like being a mom and then going back to school is actually not the easiest thing too. But, I try to be really the best person that I can be. And when things fall apart and when you have to stand on your own principles and your own beliefs, um, and it doesn't go the way other people expects it to be, it's really not your fault, you know?
Yeah.
It's
I
not.
think it's not. And I think that's such a good reminder. And I hope anyone who's listening who's maybe feeling a little bit of that and hearing the things that people are saying to them or feeling like they are at fault, that they could hear those words and be able to have that same hug to themselves that, hey, it's not your fault. That's okay.
Mhm.
That's beautiful. Well, I so appreciate you being
Mm.
willing to open up and get so vulnerable and real with us about how hard it is to do this thing called parenting, and to share this recipe. I'm excited. I mean, it looks like food. I'll have to taste it and see how it goes, but it looks edible, so we'll see.
I know. Just don't force yourself if it's not. I
I
forced my
appreciate.
doggy to eat it, and he's like, "This is not." We'll try it again. We'll try it again.
Okay. Well, I look forward to hearing when you try it again.
Yeah, yeah.
But thank you so much for being on here and chatting with us, and thank you to everyone for tuning in today. I hope we will see you back next time. If you or anyone that you know is struggling with any of the topics that we discussed in today's episode, make sure to check out our show notes for support and resources. You can get help. Thanks again for joining us on today's episode of The Real Family Eats. If you're a parent ready to share your real life parenting story, make sure to reach out to us in our website found in the show notes. And that goes for today's recipe, social medias, support, and resources. All of that can be found in our show notes. So make sure to check them out. And make sure to follow, like, share, subscribe, and stay up to date on all things The Real Family Eats. I hope you'll join us next time for more food for thought and thoughtful food. Enjoy your eats.